How Pooh Got His Honey. Story by Carey. Winnie the Pooh went into his cozy kitchen. He picked up a honey pot and looked inside. "Oh, bother," said Pooh. "It's empty. I'm out of honey again." At first, Pooh felt sad. He felt as empty as his honey pot. But then he thought of a good plan. "I will go see Christopher Robin," said Pooh. "He is my friend, and he always has honey. He will fill my honey pot for me." Pooh took his honey pot and set out through the 100-acre woods. He was near the bee tree when he heard someone call. "Oh there, Pooh!" Pooh looked down. Gopher had popped up. "Where are you going with that big jar?" asked Gopher. "This is not just a jar," said Pooh. "Not really. It's my honey pot, and it is empty. I'm taking it to Christopher Robin so that he can fill it up again." "Ha!" cried Gopher. "Wouldn't you know?" "That's the trouble with bears," said Gopher. "They won't work for their honey. They want someone to give it to them. Aren't you ashamed, Pooh Bear?" Pooh did not know what to say, so he said nothing. He just stared down at his own feet. "Go to the bee tree," said Gopher. "Get your own honey. That's what good bear worth his honey would do." Pooh looked up at the tree. He saw the bees buzzing in and out. "The bee place is very high," said he. "Besides, this is not a friendly tree. It has no branches to help a climbing bear." "And what about the bees?" asked Pooh. "They will be very cross if they see me climbing their tree." "Use your head, Pooh Bear," said Gopher. "Don't climb up the outside. Dig under the honey tree. Then climb up the inside to the bee place. The bees will never know that you are there." And with that, Gopher jumped back into his hole and tunneled away. "Oh dear," said Pooh. "I know it would be better to ask Christopher Robin for the honey. But if you do that, Gopher will think that I am a lazy bear. I do not want Gopher to think that I am lazy." Pooh ran and got his shovel. He began to dig under the bee tree. Soon he hit a root. He could not dig any more. "I will make a new hole in a new place," said Pooh, and he went to the other side of the tree. Again he started to dig. Again he hit a root. Oh, bother," said Pooh. Just then Tigger came pouncing up. "Hoo-hoo-hoo! Pooh Bear!" cried Tigger. "What are you doing?" "I'm digging my way under the bee tree," said Pooh. "Once I'm inside the tree, I will climb up and get some honey." "How silly," said Tigger. "A clever Tigger would not dig," said Tigger. "A Tigger would bounce right up to the bee place. He would take the honey and bounce away. Hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo!" "But bears are not as bouncy as Tiggers," said Pooh. "That's because they won't try," said Tigger. Tigger bounced off as Piglet and Roo came along. They had heard Tigger talking to Pooh. "How is a Pooh Bear supposed to bounce like a Tigger?" Pooh wondered. "Don't worry, Pooh," said Piglet. "We can help you bounce. We can toss you in a sheet." "Stay there," called Roo. "I'll be right back." He ran home and got one of Kanga's sheets. Piglet held one end of the sheet and Roo held the other. Pooh got onto the sheet with his honey pot. "1, 2, 3!" cried Piglet. Piglet and Roo tossed Pooh. Whee! Pooh bounced high and higher and higher. Look at me. I'm almost there. But suddenly, Pooh was not almost there. Pooh came down so hard that he split the sheet and fell through to the ground. Bump. Oh, are you all right, Pooh? Asked Piglet. Don't worry, Pooh, said Roo. I'll get another sheet. We can try again. Before Roo could run off, Owl flew down from his tree. Pooh, you are going about this all wrong, said Owl. I must be, agreed Pooh. Otherwise, I would have had some honey by now. Forget bouncing, said Owl. Fly like this. Owl spread his wings and flew to the top of the tree. He sat on a branch near the bee place. See? He hooted. Wasn't that simple and so quick? Oh, yes, Owl, said Pooh. Now, while you are up there, could you fill my honey pot? Owl did not hear. He was having such a good time he could not listen. Flying, hooted Owl, so much better than walking or digging or bouncing. I can't think why so few animals fly. Because they have no wings, answered Pooh. Still, Owl did not hear. He flew away. That left Pooh with his empty honey pot. Suddenly Pooh thought of something. He thought of his kite. It was home beside the kitchen door. Perhaps this bear will fly, said Pooh, and he ran and got the kite. Pooh tied the kite to his back, and then he held fast to his honey pot and ran into the wind. The wind lifted the kite. It lifted Pooh, too. He flew far away from Piglet and Roo. Oh, look at Pooh, sang Roo. Hooray for Pooh! What did Pooh do? He flew! Rabbit was in his garden. He heard shouting and singing above him, and he looked up. Suddenly the wind died down, and suddenly Pooh was not flying. He was falling. Oh dear, cried Rabbit. Oh me, oh my! Rabbit jumped out of the way. Bump! Pooh came down in the middle of Rabbit's garden. Well, you'll be pleased with yourself, Pooh Bear, scolded Rabbit. The very idea, flying. Bears are not supposed to fly. You know that. I just wanted to get some honey from the bee tree, Pooh explained. Honey indeed, said Rabbit. If I needed honey, which I don't, I would not go to the bees. I would make the bees come to me. You would? Asked Pooh. How would you do that? See those bees? Asked Rabbit. They gather their honey from the flowers. If I wanted honey, I would plant a flower garden. When the bees came to my flowers, I would take their honey. That would be much better than ruining other people's gardens. When Piglet and Roo finally caught up to Pooh, he told them what Rabbit had said. That might work, said Roo. It might, said Pooh. But Pooh knew he could not wait for a garden to grow. He was too hungry. He, Piglet, and Roo ran to the woods and picked lots and lots of flowers. They took the flowers to Pooh's house. They put the flowers into a wash tub, a teacup, and some of Pooh's honey pots. Then the three friends sat down to wait for bees. Soon the bees came buzzing along. They buzzed to the flowers. Then they buzzed to Pooh and Piglet and Roo. One bee landed on Roo's ear. Oh, said Roo. One bee buzzed around Piglet's head, and it landed on his knee. Oh, it tickles, cried Pooh. Don't move, said Pooh. Tickles don't hurt, but stings do. Don't talk about stings, cried Piglet. You are giving this bee unfriendly ideas. Don't worry, Piglet, said Pooh. Now that I think of it, I'm sure these are the sort of bees that do not sting. Just as Pooh said this, a very bee flew down his shirt. Pooh itched and twitched. He tried to reach down his back. He wiggled and jiggled. The bee buzzed out the bottom of his shirt. Pooh ran, Piglet ran, too, and so did Roo. A moment later, Christopher Robin came down the path. He saw Pooh and Piglet and Roo hiding in a prickly bush. "What's the matter, Pooh?" asked Christopher Robin. "Why are you hiding there? And what are all these flowers doing here?"
"I need some honey,"
said Pooh.
"Gopher told me to tunnel under the bee tree for it. Tigger said I should bounce up the bee place. Bow Owl wanted me to fly, but Rabbit said I must make bees come to me. The bees did not come,"
continued Pooh.
"But the bees did come, but they didn't leave any honey."
"Silly old bear," said Christopher Robin. What did you do the last time you wanted honey?"
"Well, I asked you for some,"
said Pooh.
"I was going to do that, but then Gopher said I was a lazy bear, and Tigger said I wasn't trying."
"So you wanted to please Gopher," said Christopher Robin. "You wanted to please everyone, didn't you?"
"I did,"
said Pooh.
"but instead I wound up pleasing no one, and I didn't get any honey. Next time, I will follow my own plan first."
"Well, you can follow it now," said Christopher Robin, who took Pooh home and filled Pooh's honey pot. He made some cocoa for Pooh, too. It was lovely cocoa. It had marshmallows in it. Pooh and Christopher Robin asked all their friends to share the cocoa. Rabbit and Owl came, Kanga came, so did Roo. Eeyore came, and Tigger too. When everyone was there, Roo sang his song. "Hooray for Pooh! What did Pooh do? He really flew! 3 cheers for Pooh!" Everyone clapped. And why not? For just a moment, it had come true. Pooh flew. Can you name Pooh's friends and explain how each one tried to help Pooh get his honey? You can pause the video if you want to try that. And then let's talk, what's the story? You can see how many of these questions you can answer. Why did Pooh need to get more honey? How did Pooh try to get the honey? There's a lot of ways, aren't there? How did Pooh finally get his honey? And what did Pooh learn by the end of the story? Oh my, and there's some other things here. And you can pause it if you would like. And then, that's all. Good night. I love you.